Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to this week's edition of Ask Coach Marie. I'm Marie O'Neill, founder of Padma Life Coaching, and your host on this series. This is the place where you ask a question and I give you my unique opinion as a life renewal coach, astrologer, and past life regression facilitator. Please know that I am not a therapist and I will never tell you what you must do. Each week on Friday, a new video is released with me answering 2 questions from the viewers. I'll also talk about various other topics such as consciousness, how the universe works, astrology, various other life renewal topics. Let's go ahead and get started with the questions for this week. Our first question comes from Bethany, who is in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Bethany says, I'm a 54-year-old woman who has just ended an abusive 25-year marriage. I feel so lost. Do you have any advice on how I start over? That is an excellent question, Bethany. My first advice to you is to honor that you actually got out, because so many people are still in abusive relationships and unable to leave for various reasons. Please, please take the time to cherish what you have accomplished. That's my first suggestion to you. The next thing is, depending on where you are in the process, whether you got out last month or over the past 6 months or the last year, what you do is going to be really based on when you actually got out. For the first year after getting out of an abusive relationship, my recommendation is self-care, intensive self-care, just to nurture the self. Whatever nurturing means to you, do that. If it means just sitting and reading a book, if it means going to movies or going to visit friends or traveling, whatever it is that you can do to nurture yourself during that first year is paramount. In your note to me, you said that you were 54. That's actually a pivotal age when we look at it based through the lens of astrology. 54 is that age when we start to mature on a different level. Our moon, basically, we have a moon sign, and I've talked about that in other videos. And the moon represents our emotional body. What happens is the moon basically progresses along as you're born, and it gets back to its original location after a period of time. 54 is that age when your natal moon, the moon that you were born under, gets back to its original location. This is the beginning of the eldering phase, which concludes 10 years later, technically, astrologically. But I'm telling you this because emotionally you have gone through a major shift at this time. And over the next 10 years, you're going to be doing a lot more work to help yourself heal and help yourself be the elder that you're here to be. After about, I don't know, a year of nurturing yourself and visiting friends, maybe doing, some traveling, it would be a good idea. Well, even during that time, it would be a good idea for you to enlist help. You can go to a coach who specializes in not marriage counseling, but people who are divorced. There are coaches out here who do this, who specialize in this. You can reach out to a psychologist, a psychotherapist. There's plenty of people in the healthcare industry who work with mental health who can also help you. I would reach out to one or several of of people in this particular group for help, because it's nice to have someone who understands what you're going through, who has experience with it, and can help you navigate it. You have to figure out what it is you want for you, for your future. Do you have children that you're still raising? Are they out of the house? Do you have a career? What is it that you actually want? It's going to take some work to uncover your desires and your needs and what is going to make you happy. At this point, you may not know what is going to actually make you happy, which means that you have to go through the nurturing stage first. So I hope that helps you. Please send me an email or comment below to let me know how you're doing. All right. The topic for today is New Year's resolutions. Yes, we are still in the holiday season. Actually, it's coming to an end in the Western culture. It hasn't come to an end if you're in the Eastern culture, because there is the Chinese New Year, which takes place, I believe, in February or March, and I'll talk about that at another time. Today, my intention is to talk to you about how to actually set your New Year's goals for yourself. I don't know about you, but I've set so many New Year's goals over the years that I've not achieved. It's amazing. And then there are some that I've set that I have achieved, and there's a difference between the two. And that's what I am going to be talking to you about. First of all, New Year's in the West, of course, starts January 1. Now, that's the dead of winter in North America, not in South America, not in the Southern Hemisphere, but in North America it is. And setting goals is one thing. It's good to do that. At the same time, when you actually take action to start achieving those goals, that's a whole nother ballgame. It's okay to set the goals on what you want to achieve on January 1st, to have it be mulling it over in your mind. But you want to check with an astrologer to find out the optimal time to start doing something to achieve that goal. Because when you start is equally as important as actually having the goal. Check with it. There's a part of astrology. Well, don't want to call it a part of astrology. There's a particular way that astrologers can look at your chart to determine when the best time is to start any project. And that is the first thing that you want to do to help you achieve your goals. The next thing is set reasonable goals. If you are having any emotional issues with particular goals, meaning that the goal is a huge stretch, be careful about setting that goal. Maybe set a goal that is doable and reachable in a particular period of time. That's actually the best thing to do. The next thing is to enlist the help of a friend, someone that you can be accountable to. Now, the friend that you enlist the help of, that friend really needs to be someone who is going to not only be in your corner, but someone who will help you achieve that goal by asking you questions periodically. How are you doing? What's going on with this goal? It's someone who is not necessarily a taskmaster, but someone who will certainly not let you off the hook with this goal. So that's another thing that you want to do. Figure out when the best time is to start the goal, enlist the help of a friend, go to an astrologer, set out a plan, a reasonable plan to achieve the goal, doable plan, write it out. There is a lot of information out here on vision boards and putting those together. And I'm a proponent of that, of getting pictures related to your goal and putting them up on vision boards. That's one way to actually set your intention. But that is what I wanted to say about New Year's resolutions. I hope that you set reasonable resolutions for yourself and that you achieve them. They are doable. You just have to be reasonable with how you set the goal and have endurance. You must have endurance. I mean, too many times we set these goals, we go gung ho, and then a month later or 2 months later, we've, quote, fallen off the wagon and we're no longer achieving that goal. That isn't what you want to do, because that sets up an energy pattern for not achieving goals. And that's not what you want to do. You want to achieve the goal. So please set reasonable goals. Oh, and one other thing, only set a couple of goals for the year, 2 or 3 goals. That's it, because you need to be able to work on those goals, and you don't want to have a lot of goals out here, because it's virtually impossible to keep track of all the goals and work on all of them. You want to focus on just a few goals, 1, 2, maybe 3 goals. That's it. Have your endurance, enlist the help of somebody who is going to hold your feet to the fire so that you achieve the goal. Figure out when you're going to actually start on that goal based on astrology. There's, like I said, there's a particular branch of astrology that does nothing but help you pick the right time to do anything. The final thing is go forth and achieve your goals. All right. Our next question comes from, this one comes from Joe, who is in Chicago. Joe says, I'm familiar with reading my horoscope in magazines, but I understand this is only one aspect. I'm curious to learn more about astrology and what it can do for me, but have no idea where to start. Do you have any suggestions? Yes. As a matter of fact, if you've been reading your horoscope, there's usually a name in that horoscope of the person who wrote that horoscope for that particular magazine. I'm pretty sure that that person does astrology readings, complete astrology readings. You can always contact them if you might have to contact the magazine to get in touch with them, but if they list their contact information, go ahead and contact them. The other thing is you can check on Google and Google Astrologers. There's different astrology organizations out here that you can check online. There's one called Find an Astrologer. That is a good place to start. You can check with the astrology conferences, which are happening all over the globe. The astrology conferences have, of course, astrologers who are there, and usually their contact information is listed on the astrology, on the website for the different astrology conferences. You can check in your neighborhood, well, maybe not neighborhood, but in your city to see if there are astrologers there. You also want to decide whether it's important for you to meet with this astrologer in person or if it's okay to talk to them via Zoom or Skype or over the telephone. Because if you want a face-to-face meeting, then you will need to work with someone who is in your city or town or in a nearby town. If you're okay with Zoom, then that opens up a whole another world of astrologers because we are everywhere. I love that. And one of the things with astrology and figuring out what type of astrologer you want to go to, that's difficult to know because for the most part, even though we specialize or we have a particular style of astrology that we do, you don't want to worry about going to one particular type of astrologer versus another. They're all very good and they all give very good information. So pick the astrologer that you go to based on your feeling and try out a few different astrologers because, like I said, each of us has our own style. So I hope that helps you, and I hope that you reach out to an astrologer soon to get an astrology reading. That's the other thing. Each astrologer has a wait list because we see clients, we choose our own schedule as far as how often we're going to see clients in a day and how often we're going to see clients in a month or a week. Some astrologers typically do 1 or 2 readings a day. Some do more astrology readings. Now, each astrologer, of course, has their own schedule and decides how often they're going to do readings. And I'm saying this because you might contact an astrologer and you have to get on their wait list for maybe a month from now or 2 months from now. There are some astrologers who are booking out 2-3 years in advance. There are other astrologers who can get you in right away too. It all depends on the astrologer. You want to, as I said, choose several different astrologers to get different astrology readings from. Each astrologer will make the decision as to whether they give an hour reading, hour and a half, or 2 hours. Some astrologers actually will give 3-hour readings. So check them out too. You can also reach out to me. I am an astrologer and I do book. I've got a bit of a wait list, but it's not exceedingly long at this time. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for sending it in. If you would like a reading from me or you would like to send me questions for Ask Coach Marie, please send your query to Ask Coach Marie. I'm sorry, not Ask Coach Marie. Send your query to padmacoach at icloud.com. I'll put the link down below. If you'd like to learn more about me or, like I said, reach out to me via my website, I will put that down below. Also, my website for the book is andthelotusopened.com. I'll put that link below. So anyway, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful new year. I am so looking forward to this year. I believe it's going to be a good year. So, or the year ahead. We're not quite there yet, but anyway, I wish you a happy new year wherever you are. Bye-bye.